I've always thought it's interesting how people talk about One Piece. They usually don't say it's just a good anime. They talk about it like it's something you experience, like it's something that stays with you. People tell you to stick with it, to give it time, to come back to it later. Almost like they're recommending a phase of life and not just a show. And that's kind of strange, because if you describe One Piece out loud, it sounds ridiculous. A rubber pirate, exaggerated faces, shows that run for years. Characters could scream, cry, and mess up all over the place, rinse and repeat. So, why does this story hit people so deeply? Why do so many people grow up with it, draws apart from it, comes back to it later, and so many emotions come up when they hear a song or see a panel? That's what I want to talk about here. Not to explain the plot or break down theories, but to understand why people connect to this story the way it does. I think part of it is that One Piece doesn't ask you to look at their characters from a distance. It lets you sit with them when they're unsure of themselves. A lot of the stories are written around characters that know exactly who they are or find out who they are pretty quickly. One Piece is comfortable letting characters wander around for a long time without answers. They make bad decisions. They act out of fear or pride. They lie to themselves. And the story doesn't rush in to fix them. That feels familiar. Most people don't wake up knowing who they're supposed to be. They're figuring it out while life keeps moving. One Piece reflects that without ever calling attention to it. The characters are in love because they're impressive. They're loved because they feel recognizable. That recognition creates something important, a sense of safety. When you watch One Piece, you're not constantly being told how to be better. You're being shown that you can keep going even when you're not a perfect person and even feel embarrassed of yourself at that moment. Another thing the story does really well is the sense of belonging. The crew doesn't come together because everyone fits perfectly. It happens because people choose each other. Once someone is in, they're in. Arguments don't threaten that. Mistakes don't erase it. Even leaving doesn't necessarily end it. For people who've never felt like they've cleanly belonged to a group, this hits quietly but deep. The humor plays a huge role in all of this. This show constantly reminds you not to take it too seriously. Faces stretch, bodies that break physics, repeating jokes through the years. It almost dares you not to get emotionally attached. And then something real happens and it catches you off guard. The humor lowers your guards just enough. So when the themes start brushing off on inequality, suffering, grief, all of those heavy themes, it doesn't feel pushed. It feels honest, like real life. Both of them can live in the same exact moment. What's also interesting is how the themes stay the same, but your relationship to them changes through the time. Freedom means one thing when you're younger and a different thing when you're older. Dreams feel simple until life complicates them. Standing up to systems sound heroic until you understand how exhausting it can be. The story doesn't change its message to match your age. You do. And when you come back to it, it still works. Not because it changed, because you did. I think that's why people don't talk about One Piece like it's a normal show. They don't just recommend it, they pass it on. Almost like they're saying, this helped me at one point. Hopefully, it will help you too. For me, that's what makes One Piece special. Not the lore, the fights, or the scales of everything else. It's the way the story lets people be human without apology. To laugh at themselves, to fail publicly, to keep moving forward even when they're unsure or scared. At its core, it's not really about pirates. It's about becoming yourself over time without rushing the process and without asking permission. And that's why people don't just watch it, they pass it on, they carry it.